For 2 years, he trusted this place. But one night, everything changed. In the cold winter of 1943, deep in a war-torn European town, a 12-year-old boy named Daniel and his mother struggled every single day just to survive, waking up each morning not knowing if they would have anything to eat by nightfall. The streets around them were nearly empty. Buildings stood broken and silent, and the constant sound of distant war made it clear that danger was never far away, even when everything seemed calm. Food had become more valuable than anything else, and people were willing to ignore almost anything if it meant they could feed their families for one more day. But there was one place in the town that never seemed to run out of food, a small butcher shop hidden between damaged buildings, quietly serving anyone desperate enough to enter. No one asked where the meat came from, because in times like these, asking too many questions could lead to answers that were far more dangerous than hunger itself. Daniel and his mother had no choice but to rely on that shop, returning again and again, even though something about it never felt completely right. Every time Daniel stepped inside, he felt a strange heaviness in the air, like the walls themselves were hiding something they didn't want anyone to see. The smell inside was different from any other place, not entirely unpleasant, but not quite normal either, something that stayed with him long after they left. Behind the counter stood the butcher, a quiet man with cold, unreadable eyes who spoke very little but seemed to notice everything. And for reasons Daniel couldn't explain, he always felt like the butcher was watching him more closely than anyone else. One afternoon, while his mother was speaking with the butcher, Daniel wandered slightly away from the counter and began to notice details he had never paid attention to before. From somewhere behind the shop, he heard a slow, heavy sound, not the sharp rhythm of cutting meat, but something dragging, something that moved with effort. He froze, listening carefully, trying to understand what he was hearing, but the longer he listened, the less it made sense. Just as he took a step closer, his mother suddenly called his name, her voice sharp, pulling him back before he could go any further. On the way home, Daniel tried to ask about what he had heard, but his mother avoided the question, telling him quietly that some things were better left alone. That night, as he lay awake, the sound replayed in his mind over and over again, growing louder in his thoughts with every passing minute. He tried to convince himself it was nothing, just part of the butcher's work, but deep inside, he knew it was something else. The next day, when they returned to the shop, everything looked the same, but the feeling inside Daniel had completely changed. Now he wasn't just a hungry boy waiting for food. He was watching, noticing, trying to understand what was hidden beneath the surface. And for the first time, he realized that the silence in that shop wasn't peaceful. It was hiding something. Over the next few days, Daniel began to notice something unsettling, a pattern that was too precise to be ignored, something that connected the butcher shop to the strange disappearances happening around the town. Each time someone from the neighborhood vanished without explanation, the butcher shop somehow seemed to have more meat available the very next day, as if nothing had happened at all. At first, Daniel tried to tell himself it was just a coincidence, something his imagination had created out of fear and exhaustion. But the pattern continued, again and again, too consistent, too perfect, until it became impossible for him to ignore. The more he thought about it, the more his fear slowly turned into something else, a desperate need to understand the truth. Even if that truth was something far worse than anything he had imagined before. He started watching the shop from a distance, hiding in shadows, observing who came in and who left, and more importantly, who didn't. Some people entered the shop late in the day, but Daniel never saw them come back out. The longer he watched, the more certain he became that something inside that place was terribly wrong. And finally, after days of fear and hesitation, Daniel made a decision he could no longer avoid. One cold night, when the streets were completely empty and the sounds of war felt distant for a brief moment, Daniel quietly left his home and made his way toward the butcher shop alone. Every step he took felt heavier than the last, his heart pounding loudly in his chest, as if it was trying to warn him to turn back while he still could. When he reached the shop, he found the front door locked, the windows dark, giving no sign that anyone was inside. But as he walked along the side of the building, he noticed a small window slightly open, just enough for him to see inside. Carefully, he climbed up, holding his breath as he slowly looked through the opening, expecting to see nothing but darkness. At first, the shop looked exactly as it always did, empty, quiet, almost peaceful in a strange and unsettling way. But then his eyes adjusted, and he noticed something he had never seen before: a door at the back, slightly open, leading into complete darkness. A cold feeling spread through his body, stronger than anything he had felt before, but he couldn't look away. His curiosity, mixed with fear, pushed him further than he had ever gone. And without fully understanding why, Daniel decided to go inside. He carefully climbed through the window and landed softly on the wooden floor, freezing for a moment to listen for any sign that he had been heard. The silence inside the shop was overwhelming, every small movement sounding louder than it should. Step by step, he moved toward the back door, his breathing slow but unsteady, his hands slightly trembling. As he got closer, the air changed, becoming colder, heavier, harder to breathe, like something was wrong with the space itself. The strange smell he had noticed before was now stronger, sharper, impossible to ignore. He reached out and gently pushed the door open, revealing a dark room hidden behind the shop. At first, he could see very little, only vague shapes in the darkness that made no clear sense. His eyes slowly adjusted, trying to understand what he was looking at, but the longer he stared, the more disturbing it felt. This was not a normal storage room, not a place meant for simple work. This was something hidden, something no one was meant to find. Suddenly, a faint sound behind him broke the silence, causing his entire body to freeze instantly in place. His heart stopped for a moment as he slowly turned around. Already fearing what he might see standing in the doorway behind him was the butcher. His face calm, his eyes fixed directly on Daniel with an intensity that made it impossible to look away. For a brief moment, neither of them spoke, neither of them moved, as if the entire world had paused just for this single moment. Daniel realized then that he had made a mistake that could cost him everything. The secret he had been searching for was no longer hidden, and now he was the only one who knew it. Slowly, Daniel took a step back, his mind racing, searching for any way out of the situation. But the butcher took a step forward, closing the distance between them without any sign of hesitation. And in that moment, Daniel understood that he had only seconds to act if he wanted to survive.
The next morning, when the sun rose over the broken town, something strange had changed. The butcher shop was closed, its doors locked, its windows dark, as if it had never existed at all. No one in the town could explain where the butcher had gone, or why the shop had suddenly disappeared from their daily lives. The people who had gone missing were never found, their stories ending without answers. Daniel never spoke about what he saw that night, not to his mother, not to anyone else. Some truths were too heavy, too dangerous to be shared with the world. But even years later, long after the war had ended, he could still remember that smell, that silence, that moment. And one question that never left his mind, no matter how much time passed. What exactly was hidden inside that room, and how long had it been happening before anyone noticed? And the most terrifying thought of all, how many people had trusted that shop and never came back out?